Just letting the bike warm up. It's not that cold at all out here. Pretty sure it's 35 or something. This parking lot's a mess. Always is. Just thinking about bidding on this contract just so I could come clean it out. Alright, I'm ready to set out on an adventure. Well, we've had our usual January melt. Luckily, January started with at least some snow, because we were pretty pitiful for a while there. Plenty of snow, but then the old January melt. Got like 40 degrees every day, raining. Usually drops snow up high, which this storm has been doing that. But you got to get really high for all the new stuff. So we're sitting okay, I guess, for our normal February unleashing of snow. February, March. Usually when we get the great snow dumps. So if history repeats itself, we're gonna be, it's all uphill from here, or downhill depending on how you look at it. So I've had some time to reflect on the loss of a legend. And no, I'm not talking about Kobe, but that's a sad story too, but I'm talking about Rock Creek Rick. You know, you ask yourself, why do you go into the mountains? It is a dangerous place. And right away we were all cruising into the mountains, you know, within less than a week of Rick's passing, and we know he would have done the same. I know from my personal, I've talked with others about this, but from my personal perspective, you know, I feel alive in the mountains. I'm sure Rick was the same. You know, one guy was saying, well, I know I could set up a, or actually I think he and Rick were talking about this, we could set up a badminton net at home, mess around, but they knew that wouldn't last very long. They'd be right back up in the mountains again. There's something magical about being out. Also with the machine, you know, I was up in some dangerous spots last week skiing with a lot of people. And the truth of the matter is, there are a lot of other things people do on a day-to-day basis that are riskier even than going into the mountains. But when someone dies in the mountains or dies in an avalanche, there's a lot of blame. Or people, actually when people die anytime, it seems like others try to justify right away why that wouldn't happen to them. You know, like, oh, he was reckless, or you know, you even see this when someone dies in a car accident. The question is, did they or did they not have their seatbelt on? And if they didn't, people are like, oh, they blame them for that, but who knows, it may have been, you know, you can die with the seatbelt on, you can die with it off. So some might question why Rick didn't have an avalanche pack, but you know, there aren't good statistics at this point about avalanche packs. They do seem to increase your odds, but still, a lot of people have died with an avalanche pack on. And And one of the things, you know, I think he was carried quite a ways in that avalanche. In theory, you know, an avalanche pack, it sits you on top of the snow, so it increases your chances of getting trauma because you're likely to ride the avalanche the whole way to the bottom. So trees and just getting wrapped up in the snow, hitting rocks, all that stuff is a lot of times what kills people in an avalanche, not the suffocation. So in some regards, you know, maybe it was good because I don't think he flowed the whole way with the avalanche. Maybe that gave him a fighting chance of even not having a pack on, but regardless, like, I know a lot of us since have rethought what we're doing out there, and you know, there's been some sentiment. Some are getting avalanche packs now because I knew he didn't have one, so that's great. I think any little thing you can do to decrease your odds of dying and still enjoying the mountains. So one thing I've done here is added this tether. I'm not tethered to it currently. I'm gonna wait till I get in a more critical spot out here. But that was partially because of, you know, Rick and a couple other incidents I've had. I added a safety feature right here that hopefully will kill my bike in a situation where I don't have a hold of the controls, and might keep it from harming me. So I think those are some of the things people can do, I think, just to, out of respect to Rick, and continuing to still be out in the mountains, but do it in the safest possible way. And whoa, what was that? Something just flew by me. I think I'm up out of the wind. It's like it was a bird. So last night I was at my daughter's basketball game, and it was cool to see Rick's wife there. You know, Ashley was there at the game, and I didn't even realize it till afterwards. My daughter, who was on the opposing team, because we were at their place, which isn't too far away, but they all had RCR on their wrists. I didn't even know it. It was a cool tribute that the junior high girls played with that on their wrist. A lot of them didn't even know him, but it was on Rick's home court where he grew up playing, the school he went to, and it just shows like there's so much support in our community. Actually quite shocking, and I'm in awe of how many caring people are out there. Be cool for Rick to have seen that. Okay, I got the tether on. Let's see how this wrist technique works. Should work good. I see a lot of pro snowmobilers doing it. They jump around on their machines a whole lot more than I do. A snow bike track there. Yeah, this logging opened up a lot of this ridge here. Okay, I've almost got out of the woods here. This is the tricky part that worries me. Okay. Dang. I just came out in this deep snow. Dang, I was on the trail right there. These tree wells are big. Alright, I'm in a tough spot here. I did much snowshoe packing. I'm going to try to switch back, get up there. I packed it out enough that I can get up to dealing with the next obstacle, but it just got too deep here in these open slopes. I was getting good hookups under trees, which are melting and freezing. Out of these melting trees. Come on, I got this. Gotta make that turn at the top. At least get the bike up there and then I can deal with. Okay. In neutral. Okay, if I got enough speed, I think I can make that first right before that pondo. Whew. Okay. Get over. Yeah. Come on, snowshoe tracks. Take me to the top. Stay in them. Stay in them. Yeah. Yeah, boys. Woo! Alright, one creek crossing down, but somehow I hit the bottom there and I didn't turn. I plowed right in that bank. Broke some plastics. Oh well. Could have been worse. Could have broke a ski off. I don't think there's any damage there. Although it kind of looks like it's pushed back some. Let me double check that. Yeah, right now we got a breakable crust that is nasty, but the ski is doing awesome. Any other ski would be hooking and darting. I mean, it's still not ideal conditions. I mean, it's not the easiest, but the ski tracks amazingly. It doesn't just completely throw your handlebars this way or that way. So I'm turning out a pretty decent little clip on some nasty junk. It's my track from yesterday, entombed. Ice chunks flying. Another thing, when you get on a breakable crust like this, it is dangerous with putting a foot down. You can just grab it and rip your torso open or your hips open. This ride talking about safety. This is one of the few, maybe the only times I've actually called someone, my own private search and rescue, and because I was really worried. I was dropping out in a hole out of service and wasn't sure I was going to make it out of there. I have plenty of food with me. There's water flowing down there, so that wouldn't have been an issue. But I got to get up here and tell him I got out. But just a safety precaution, I called him, said, hey, I'm going out of service. If I'm not out by noon, start coming this way. Told him where our meetup spot was going to be. I have snowshoes so I can, if my bike was completely wrecked or stuck in a creek or something, I could have at least walked out and met him. Wow, this is chewed up. Alright, now I just gotta make it home. I'm out of the tough stuff. I'm sure glad I had this leash. This was the perfect kind of riding where you really needed it.